Oh, it's been nearly 50 years since Pompey went to Deepdale and won, so what we were expecting. But should Pompey have had a penalty, and do we need VAR in the Championship to help us? Absolutely disgusting results, and Preston weren't that good as well either. Welcome back to Where Pompey Walk. 20 minutes of Pompey chat. Lots to get through this week. We're looking at all those transfer window deadline signings. How good did Jacob Brown do this weekend on debut? Plus, how do you rate the transfer window out of 10? We'll get the panel to give their views on all of that. We've got the A to Z and the letter O to come, and with Valentine's Day around the corner, we're asking who was the first ever player you fell in love with as a young Pompey fan. We'll get these guys to give their view on all of that. But fresh back from Deepdale, of course, we've got Sasha and Phil, and watching from afar, of course, as always, across the pond is Sam. How are you, Sam? Are you excited for Super Bowl? Do you get Super Bowl fever?
Yeah, I'm pretty excited. Super Bowl is always kind of a monumentous day here in North America, and you get some chips and dips, lots of food and everything like that. So, yeah, I'm pretty excited for the game tonight. Should be good. Should be a good game. Hopefully better than the Pompey game yesterday. So,
all right, let's give a focus on that one then, Sam. Why is it you can't never win at Deepdale, fellas? Is it just the cursed ground? It's 53 years, Phil, isn't it? Something like that?
I don't know. Yeah, I wish I had the answer. we must have got a curse on us or something. But
okay.
Maybe I don't know.
Yeah.
We could have played all night and we still wouldn't have scored or won that game. So yeah, we just write it off and move on.
All right, let's go into it then. I mean, you were on a 4-game, pretty decent spell, weren't we, as well? Sasha, do you want VAR in the Championship based on what you saw? It was pretty Stonewaller, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's a stone wall, but no, I don't think we should bring VAR into Championship. I'm heavily against it. No. It ruins the excitement of the game if we introduce it to the Championship. You know, I don't want to see us score a 95th minute winner and have to wait an extra 10 minutes to find out whether it counts or not, just for it to be spoiled.
Yeah.
Right. Even if you go down by 1 point and that 1 point could have been that penalty, and you still stick to that?
For the sake of football, no VAR.
Okay. Phil, do you agree?
Absolutely. I mean, I would have loved for that penalty to have been given, but yeah, there's too many downsides on VAR. Like you say, I hate watching the Premier League football when fans can't celebrate a goal because it might get chalked off 10 minutes later. It's just, it's no good.
Okay.
Unfortunately, those decisions like yesterday will happen. And you'd like to think they will even themselves out over the course of the season. So we'll see. Hopefully we'll get a nice simple penalty at some point.
Let's look at some social media takes then, shall we? Sam, for you, Pompey T-Dog says, it's clear to see where we're struggling. Ali puts some fantastic balls in, but nobody is there on the end of them every single time. There's no hate on him, but Kirk just isn't at this level. And we should have got a League Two loan. Let him develop there. Doesn't really offer anything when he comes on. More frustrating, the fact that Preston were absolutely shocking as well. Does that sum it up accurately for you or not, Sam?
I'm not sure that Ali put in some fantastic balls. It was pretty bad football on both sides, to be honest. The Kirk point, I think, it's valid, but who else do we bring on? Like, we're so bad in depth right now with injuries and everything like that. There's nobody else really to bring on at that point. So I think we just have to kind of ride this out at the moment. Thankfully, the Leicester decision kind of helped us out a little bit, but then just ride it out, wait for everybody to get healthy, and then hopefully we were able to drive up the table now. I did think Brown looked good though at the start of the game. I thought he looked decent. He looked lively. So yeah. Well, we'll see. We'll see. Once everybody gets healthy, we'll be okay.
Okay. Sasha, the main vibe from fans on social media was that it's just one of those, we move on. It's nothing. We're not going to get too upset about it. Both sides were pretty poor. Do you understand that point of view?
Yeah, I do. And they're a side that are chasing a playoff position in the league, before the game kicks off, whether it's Preston or an informed Sheffield United or a Middlesbrough. It's a side that far up the table. You'll be lucky to get anything out of it, especially away from home, especially Pompey away from home. We're terrible on the road. But yeah, it's just one of those games you have to brush off and focus on the next one.
Okay, which we will do shortly. Phil, a couple more. Joe says, it's a disgusting result. Preston were terrible, yet we've not even got a point. The teams around us are nicking points. If we can't win games, at least try and get a point. And not signing a genuine number 9 this window is absolutely criminal. Your thoughts on that, please?
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest. Neither team really deserved to win that game. I think it had 0-0 written all over it, and it just goes to show that little bit of quality. I mentioned it at half time. I thought Segatic was poor in his defensive work, and their left back got 3 of them too often, including for the goal. And it was a good, well placed header. It's just that little moment of quality that made the difference. And you could argue, well, if we got the penalty, we would have got a point. But you know what? We didn't really do enough. It was another game where we huffed and puffed, basically. And the pitch didn't help for sure. It was an awful game, and I think, you do have to move on and just forget about it and look for the next game.
Okay. We will do it in a minute, I promise. Just one more question about corners in particular. Sam, Paul says, what were the corners all about? Still, after everything we've seen and supposedly learnt this season, we still have no cutting edge whatsoever. There's a few posts on this one saying, what are we playing at on corners? Sam?
Yeah, I have to agree with that one, actually. Defending and attacking corners, we have just not shown anything whatsoever. I know Michael Doyle is our set pieces coach, but yeah, it's a strange one. I don't know. It's a free opportunity to get the ball crossed into the box, and we just haven't really exposed it or anything like that. So yeah, hopefully they can figure it out on the training ground. But yeah, it's a weird one, that one. I do have to agree though.
Yeah, Phil, do you agree?
Yeah, it's going to sound like I'm hating on Segatic, but he kept on kicking the ball straight out, and there was obvious a tactic was putting the ball right on top of the goalkeeper. There was a clear tactic, but the actual execution was just not happening. So yeah, again, frustrating, but we move on.
Okay, let's do exactly that then, shall we? Sasha, since we last spoke to you, the transfer window, of course, has slammed shut. We'll talk about the incomings first, but of course, one major outgoing, which has obviously been talked about quite a bit on Pompey. Pompey Circles is this one. PSA Robbie says, goodbye, sweet prince. Luke says, thanks for the memories, Langy. I genuinely wish him well. Other than when he plays against us, he helped us win League One and helped us stay up last season. If you can keep him fit, you'll have an absolute fan's favourite there. Good work rate and a bit of quality too, yeah. Your thoughts on this one, Sasha?
Yeah, it was one of those where I never wanted it to happen, but the player obviously wanted to move back up north for family reasons. He's got a kid on the way, and with all those factors in place. And I think it was Rich Hughes spoke about how he's only played like 30% of our games in the last 12 months. And when you put it that way, for us to receive the fee that we did, you kind of just have to accept it. You know, especially if the player wants to leave. Me personally, I don't want anyone at the club that doesn't want to be there. If they want to go for whatever reason, whether they don't like the club or if it's for family reasons, you should let them go. And I think we did a really good job of holding out until we got what we valued him at. And Preston broke a transfer record fee for their club doing so. So I think it was good business. Obviously, I wish him well. I absolutely loved him at Pompey. It's a shame that it's ended, but you know, we've got a bit of extra funds to hopefully improve the attacking options in the summer, but we'll see.
Yeah, Sam, Phil's going to chip in here as well. Your favourite Lang moment?
Yeah, I mean, obviously there was links in the summer, and at the time I was like, we can't afford to lose him. But then, you know, time's gone on. He hasn't played as many games. And in the cold light of day, I didn't want him to. I mean, even up till the transfer day, there was a chance he was going to stay, and I was like, I'd be happy if he stayed. But you know what? In the end, family reasons, yeah, you got to accept it. We got good money for him. Hope he does well. I'm glad he didn't get to play yesterday because you just knew he was going to score. So yeah, good luck to him.
Yeah, absolutely. Anyone got a favourite Lang goal?
Leeds away.
Leeds away. Yeah, the Derby one this season was actually pretty good as well.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Yeah, he's quite a fun character, isn't he? Is Fratton Park going to be a less fun place, Sasha?
It's always going to be fun, but we will miss Lang. We'll miss him. We'll miss the celebration as well.
All right. Let's focus on some of the names coming in. You had quite a busy deadline day, didn't we? We spoke last week. You actually needed it as well. Phil, I mean, let's talk about some of them. Jacob Brown from Luton. I mean, how did he do? Sam's mentioned it already, but how did he do for you?
I thought he looked good. He offered. I mean, he did in theory the Colby role in terms of holding up the ball well, but he's got a bit of legs on him, and he was running the channels a bit as well. So I thought he did reasonably well. He can be happy with what he did. So something to build on. Yeah, good luck to him. Yeah.
Cool. Sam, the other ones, Gustavo Caballero, and winger, and Dia from Norway. I mean, okay, putting you on the spot here. What do we know about these two?
Well, I have a friend down in Brazil, and I texted him and I says, "Do you know anything about this Santos player that we're getting?" And he goes, "Who?" So that was quite comforting. And then the other guy from Norway, again, I don't know. It could be a bright spark there, but we haven't had much luck signing those foreign players at the moment. So I hope they work out. Gustavo came on for a little bit yesterday, but not really that long to make much of an impact. Plus, putting him on a dreadful pitch like that in Preston when he's just coming from South America is a bit harsh on the lad. So, yeah.
I'd love to know what was going through his mind yesterday. Right. Like, what the hell am I doing here?
Yeah.
Playing in freezing cold Preston on a mud bath when I could be
coming from sunny Brazil to Preston. Yeah, I probably wanted to go home, to be honest, but yeah, no, we'll see how they go. I hope like Gustavo's like one of Pele's illegitimate sons or something like that, but we'll see. Yeah.
We were hearing rumours, Sasha, during the day that Devlin had some interest from a few far, but I mean that would have just broken your heart, wouldn't it? If we'd have sold quite arguably the best player of December and January.
I mean, if £100 million came in, I don't think I'd be that upset. But in my head, I knew that it was never going to happen. He's such a core player to the team, and he's a fan favorite, and he seems to absolutely love it here. He's always the last one to clap the fans at every single away game. He loves the club. Marlon Pack posted on Instagram today that the day after the match, Devlin's come in to the training ground and trained Marlon Pack's son for the day. So he absolutely loves it here. And the figure that was thrown about £2 million was just insulting. £2 million maybe by a fingernail of his, but yeah, no. I hope to see Devlin I hope he's one of those players that just stays at Pompey for his whole career, because he's brilliant, and I don't see a world where he doesn't become captain and or club legend one day.
I think with the introduction of Adams as well, he's actually got better, which is crazy to think. Yeah.
Okay. Let's get a number off each of you then. How well did Pompey do in the transfer window now it's slammed shut? Phil?
Remember in summer I said 8 out of 10, but I'm not sure I would say the same now. Again, I will give the players a chance to, I'm not going to write anyone off. I would probably say a 6 out of 10.
Okay. Any higher than 6, Sam?
Just to be optimistic, I'd say a 7. Yeah, I thought it was pretty average. If they keep us up, it'll go to an 8. But yeah.
Sasha?
I'm going to say 7. I think apart from a number 9, we filled out a lot of positions that we needed to fill out. So based off that alone, 7, and hopefully the players can prove themselves and push it up.
Okay. We didn't hear any Eisner out comments anyway post 7 p.m. on Monday, so hopefully that's all calmed down a little bit perhaps as well. We're only 1-2 defeats in a row away from all of that showing up again. Now, Ipswich fans weren't happy midweek. They called you Tin Pot because of the another cancelled fixture. Have they, no disrespect here, but have they got a slight point, Phil?
Not this time. I think they were a bit overboard. I think I remember being a bit sceptical the last time when it was ice, frozen off. But the rain given the rain we've had, no, I don't think they've got a leg to stand on. So cry more and go on with it.
Okay, good stuff. Right then, coming up then, we've got Sheffield United, of course, coming this weekend, and then the big one against Charlton on Tuesday. Does he think about that Charlton game, Sasha, ahead of the Blades this weekend? Has he got to have that in his back of his mind in terms of the bigger game is Charlton?
No, I think every game's as big as each other, and Mousinho's definitely the sort of manager that takes one game at a time. He doesn't look too far ahead. We saw it with just before the South Coast Derby. We didn't really make as many changes as they did in the game leading up to it. So yeah, I think it'll be just one game at a time, and I think that's the best way to do it, personally.
Okay, brilliant. Right then, it's Valentine's, of course, Day this weekend when we play Sheffield United. So we're asking you, who's the first ever Pompey player that you fell in love with? And in particular, who may have broken your heart subsequently when they left. So in the comments, please let us know how old you were and who was the first player you fell in love with. Sam, who was it for you?
Steve Claridge for me. When I was younger, he was around in the mid to late 90s. And I kind of emulated him when I was younger, and I used to play with one sock up and one sock down. And I always got told off by the ref. So, yeah, Steve Claridge for me.
Yeah. Phil?
Probably the first player I can recall is Neil Webb, who, of course, went on to play with Forest and Man United in England. So had a good career, but I just remember him in the early 80s at Pompey as what I recall as a goal-scoring midfielder. He always seemed to score at the right time. So yeah, Neil Webb for me was one of the first.
Yeah. Sasha?
For me, when I first started going to games, it would have been Jed Wallace. He was always a player that I heavily admired. He did very well for us in a very poor League Two Pompey side, and yeah, I thought he was brilliant. He was my favourite player.
Yeah. And have you ever had your heart broken by a lone player or a player that left all of a sudden that it just pulled at your strings?
I think every Pompey fan was crying when Ben Thompson left back in, 2019. We had him on loan from Millwall for half a season, and he was brilliant. And then he got recalled, and our season just fell apart. So, and every transfer window after that, every fan wanted to sign him, but it never happened. So. And I actually saw a clip. He's still doing it. He was playing for Bromley in League Two just now, and still scoring goals, playing well. So yeah, he's a good player. He was the one that Pompey fans probably all cried about most.
I think when Chappers left the first time, that was pretty heartbreaking. And then to see him move up the leagues and then go into the Premier League and stuff like that, yeah, that was pretty heartbreaking.
Yeah. Good shouts. Let us know in the comments, please, who's broken your heart, who have you fallen in love with from a Pompey perspective. Finally, this week we're up to the letter O in our A to Z. I don't know how we've got here, but we have. Last week we asked you for any overhead kicks into the comments or any suggestions. Did any of you come up with anything for this one? Is this a difficult one or not?
I got two. I got Jamie O'Hara and Gary O'Neill. I'll probably go Gary O'Neill just because of his service to the club and those dog days in the Premier League. So, yeah, I'll go Gary O'Neill.
Okay. Anything else down there?
I'd give a big shout to Conor Ogilvie, actually. I remember start of last season we were giving him a hard time, but he's been here 5 years now, and I must admit, every time I watch him play, he just does the simple things well.
He's very solid.
He's a joy as a defender to watch as a defender. He's so composed, and I just love him. Actually, he's turned into a great player. The other O that crossed my mind again was another match. It's almost like a sliding doors moment. So Leyton Orient in the FA Cup back in 2002, I think it was. We got beaten 4-1.
I was at that game
at the time. I think they were near the bottom League Two. We were in the Championship. Ultimately, I think it probably cost Graham Ricks his job, and then Harry Redknapp came. Well, he was already at the club as a technical director, but effectively took over as manager, and the rest is history. So, that sort of game, and it always sticks in my mind as one of those turning points that happened in our history. So, yeah.
So that's a good one. Which are you happy to put in there, Sasha, listening to all of that?
My two were Gary O'Neill and Conor Ogilvie, so I'm happy with either one of those two.
Okay, shall we go Conor Ogilvie then? Given that, he's still present and a smashing, by all accounts, a smashing lad. Brilliant. Right, up to P then next week. We can't put Pompey in, but anything to do with Pompey, let us know. Players, performances, big results, let us know. And then, we're heading into Q as well. Good luck against the Blades then. This, of course, Saturday. We will catch up with you next week to review that game. And thank you very much for watching. Drop us a comment if you haven't already done so. And, of course, a quick like. We read all your comments every single week. And we're very grateful for you sharing your time with us. Thanks very much, everyone. Have a great Valentine's weekend. Hopefully no massacre. See you then.